Hey, Justin, welcome back to our next interesting topic of this podcast series. How are you today?
I'm doing well. It's great to be with you. It's been a while, so I'm glad we're getting back into the swing of things.
Great, great, great. Yeah, so today we have a very interesting topic. We're talking about program manager, from program manager to a change maker. What journey we're looking? Is the same thing or different thing? Why maker is different than change manager? So I have a few questions, few discussion points. So if you're ready, we can start.
Let's get after it. Absolutely.
So look, I mean, out of my so many questions, let me start. First, understand who is the change maker? Who are the change makers? And what action can the program manager take to transition them into this role of a change maker?
Well, broadly speaking, I would say change makers, I would even say, especially in today's age with all of the new technologies on a daily basis, quite frankly, that are happening, everybody is a change maker at this point in time. There's so many new things coming to market and new technologies that anyone can be a real change maker. I truly believe that. And not only that, I think some of the most successful businesses out there, whether it be on the federal or on the commercial side of things, those companies have really empowered their people to truly be the eyes and ears on the ground of really looking to, because no one person or small team can keep up with all the different things happening. So empowering everybody to be keeping an eye out for those particular changes and bringing them to the, as we say in the second part of the question, with what actions can program managers take to transition into the role of change makers, into the role of it feeds in on itself. And being able to, as a program manager, I think the way, and of course in the traditional sense from a program manager standpoint, is taking all those ideas and possible changes and really kind of bringing it together to make sure that it fits the company's vision and mission, and making sure that the company's getting those benefits that were originally intended, or if you have to make some of the adjustments because of the new technologies. And then even within the program, it could be going completely smooth and everything's going according to plan, but there may be something out there that wasn't there in the beginning of the program that all of a sudden can make your program even more efficient, or find different changes within that program or project or component, I should say, to be able to do even better. So I think, especially in this world that we're in, where quite frankly it's agile, really, in a lot of ways, and with some hybrid type environments, really, even in your traditional waterfalls, I find more and more becoming hybrid because of the changes happening so fast. So as a program manager, being able to really kind of filter out all those different possibilities and aligning them and getting them into a form, quite frankly, that'll achieve the vision and the mission and the benefits ultimately.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Change maker is a very important role, and it's nothing to do with the designation. Anybody can be a change maker. You can be a program manager, project manager, or even simple team member who can take or make the change. Nothing to do with the designation. Converting somebody's idea, taking the idea into reality, making it possible.
Yeah, and truly anything is possible nowadays with some of the things coming out. It's just incredible. I'm learning something new every day.
Exactly. So look, it's a very important role. Anybody who's keen to bring a change to the society or to the organization, to the country, they see beyond just simple things. They have to be with a vision and take the entire group or organization with them to make it reality.
Yeah, not only that, is understanding even what your competitors are doing, or maybe some lines of business that don't necessarily compete with your own, but maybe there's some synergies. Take that as an opportunity to sit there and understand what they're doing and how maybe that can help your own operation be more efficient, Just I'm always as I would say, a always big on the little things, because those little things are turn into big things. And again, as we've always established in my athletic career, it's the little things that are going to really determine the wins and losses. Everybody can do the big things well. It's the little things that make the difference.
Yeah, I mean, having eyes on the big thing, but taking small steps.
That's right.
Small improvements, small changes. Yeah, that's what the Kaiser also talks about. The in Japanese company, they talk about Kaiser's improvement, small improvement, and those small improvements are helping the organization to change at a bigger level.
Yeah, and even within my football career, every play we were graded on it during the game. And our coach, he was very hard on us, but I love the man to death. And but what he always said is, we're going to strive for perfection. We know that we're not going to get to perfection, but on the journey of striving for perfection, we're going to catch excellence, and that's where you need to be.
Exactly. Look, this is a very interesting topic, and we'll continue talking about this and how anybody can become a change maker and bring change to the organization, to the society. So my next question is it is well established that project manager change and program manager lead change. How would you define a change manager's primary responsibility and the objective versus change maker?
Well, in the traditional sense, I would say your project managers certainly are going to be implementing the vision and the ultimate overall or arching program. How do I want to say, the program's objectives? But I think in today's more agile world, I think the line between a program and a project manager can get very blurred in the way where, because of the rapidness of change, a project manager is really becoming even a change, is leading the change as well in a lot of things. And so ultimately, the responsibilities can become very blurred, and they become one in some ways. And really it's kind of interesting how, where the program manager also, almost because the project manager is doing kind of a little bit of a hybrid between a project and program manager, you see the program manager kind of being more of a PMO style in some particular ways, or a different governance. So seeing these type of different situations and these different programs and projects components, it's fascinating to me to see. And of course, it's situational. But in the traditional sense, certainly from a change manager, traditional project manager, they're implementing the vision and the mission to achieve the benefits. And of course, that program manager is really ultimately looking at ways to improve efficiency. But I think especially in today's market, I don't know. I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but I don't know how effective a team is going to be if you stick in those traditional roles. Because if the project manager is keeping that tunnel vision, they're going to miss opportunities to drive that change, and miss opportunities to report that to the program manager. So it's a fascinating time to be a part of things, with all the different things happening and ways to be able to get things done bigger, faster, and stronger at this point in time.
Yeah. I mean, the relationship between program and project, program manager can create vision for the program, the objective we're going to achieve, the benefit we're going to achieve. And the project manager is the one who's doing the work. They are actually making it possible. So they are trying to, what program manager has created, a big picture. They are adding small things, whatever they can add from their side. But they have to align themselves with the program vision, program objective, So yes, program manager can take a role of a change maker. I mean, we can say that it doesn't matter what role we're talking here, but in tradition, we can see a big picture. We are making big change with the organization. The program manager take the role of a change maker. Then project managers are the one who making it possible to make or adjust the organization change. And because they are the one who doing the work. Remember that program manager is more like coordinating within the
Yep.
project managers, getting, they kind of
Interdependencies, the band director. Yep.
exactly, band director, a conductor is the one who play the role of a program manager. These band players, musical instrument, all kind of things, they are the one doing the job. So if the band coordinator or the conductor is not doing the job, then music can go anywhere. So that's
right.
the role the program manager plays. Yes, they have to see the bigger picture, what audience wants to hear, what audience want to see, and getting these band, the piano and saxophone, all these guys to play the music in such a way we get the best music out of that.
That's right.
The bigger picture, giving the small pieces to each individual project manager and create an environment for them. It's not just, hey, this is the big picture, do it. No, you need to play a role of servant leader. As a servant leader, you make it creating an environment for them, and they could do, play, do the job. And when there's a problem or some impediments, you kind of actively looking into that and removing those impediments.
That's right. And one of the biggest things, I know it'll play a theme throughout our session today, is empowering your people. I think it's very important. And making them, have them take ownership in their component or whatever responsibility they have within the program. I think is very important.
Oh yeah, empowering the people. It's not only you do the job. Yes, as a program manager, you can lead, but you empowering them to take the leadership role within the whole thing. So whatever they're doing, the small thing, they should feel empowered. They should take their own decisions in line with your expectation.
That's right.
We do have, we have to create boundaries and allow them to take the responsibility, take the decisions. When they take the decision, they have to live with the decision. When you impose the decision on them, hey, you have to do this, some people feel is pressure. That creates more stress, anxiety. But if you take, if the project manager taking decision, and of course they take decision after a lot of thinking and all those, and now when they take a decision, they live with that and they will try and do everything to make it possible.
That's right.
So yes, your role, change maker, great. The program manager, great, and give the responsibility, make the environment for them to make it happen.
Yep, absolutely.
Good job. Thank you. So how can program manager inspire and motivate their teams to become change maker within the projects?
Yeah, we've kind of just already led into that, and with empowering the team and making them feel ownership, and you kind of alluded to it, like you said, program managers kind of give down the commands, so to speak, where if a project manager can, of course, if they make the decision, they have to live with it. And I think again, you certainly have to be that band director and provide the direction, but especially in a servant leadership type style, which is one of my strengths, is my expectation of the team is, look, we're all professionals here and we're all subject matter experts in our particular roles, and we expect that out of one another. Now, if one needs help, we're certainly going to jump in. We don't care about titles or anything like that. What matters is winning and as a team, and we don't lose. Losing's not an option, but winning as a team, and no one individual is gonna win it for us or lose it for us. That's always one of the team atmospheres that I'm always preaching. And so from a program manager standpoint, inspiring, and I would even say not just program managers, but even any type of leadership position, it is your job to inspire those team members to achieve more and motivate them. And I think really what will help them be motivated is giving them that ownership, that it's theirs. And again, I know I go back to my athletic days, and that team that we had, of course, when I was younger, we weren't as mature. We didn't necessarily have the leadership that we needed. and it showed in our record. But by the time we became seniors, we knew what could not be done. We knew that if we let certain things slide, that it was going to hurt us later. And so by the time we got in those leadership positions, we were always on guard to make sure that we were doing the right thing all the time and making sure we were giving that effort. And really what ended up happening, where the coaches, which ultimately, quite frankly, would be like your program managers, they were giving it down to each position group leadership. And we're the ones that were essentially like the project managers, where we took ownership. We even worked with each other to find new techniques to do something better. If someone was having any issues with a particular playbook, i.e. in this case, it would be your tasks on the job, we would stay after or over lunch or whatever, and find ways to help each other and be better overall as a team. And so when you get that team ownership, from a program manager, you're just turning the steering wheel just a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. Other than that, they're the engine that are powering that. And at the end of the day, if you get them all inspired and motivated, as a program manager, the challenge will be is if you can keep up, because you'll have a Ferrari in your hands or a jet engine. And that's when it's really fun, quite frankly, as a program manager, where I've been blessed in some of my programs where, the biggest problem I would have is they'd be obsessing over who could wire something better and make it look prettier. What a great problem to have, as a leader, when you're coming in and having to tell them to stop wasting more time and get to the next task, because they have a competition within their own team to see who can make a better finished product. That's when you really are operating at a high level, and it becomes extra fun, because ultimately the customer and everybody wins, but it's making everyone else better.
Oh, definitely. The points are great. So look, as a program manager, yes, you can create a big picture. This is where we're heading to. We are showing all the leadership qualities. And at the end of the day, your project managers are doing the job. They are really making change. But they are following your direction as a program manager. So you need to create an environment where they're inspired, motivated, and really connecting themselves with the bigger purpose. While they're doing the small things, small projects, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, but they need to have eyes on the big picture. It's not one of the person maybe just connecting the wires. That's a daily job for that person. But you need to see that by connecting the wire properly in a more efficient way, so fault free, actually have a bigger impact. When the Olympics are happening in the country, the lights will not go off because of that. If you do the job rightly, something else, because that's something else happens. So project program manager has to inspire the project manager. Project manager has to inspire their team. They are also change makers. So the food chain, everybody need to be connected with the bigger picture. So your job is to create an environment, motivate them, excite them, and let them do their best. Let them do their best. Create the environment, do the best.
Yeah, and make sure you have fun with them. Don't. I always have to, I be able to have some laughs with your team when the opportunity arises. Don't necessarily grind them all the time, and I think that's important too, to keep them motivated, because it's one thing to go out and maybe knock something out in a week or 2 weeks or a month, but when you're starting on a project that can take many months or years, you have to. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and so you have to make sure. As a program manager, the real challenge is keeping that and sustaining it for a long time. And as a program manager and a leader, I'm always trying to find and read or watch different videos or speeches from other senior leaders, whether it be in the military or different political leaders or whatever, or business leaders, finding new ways to try it. I mean, it truly is a trial and error. You have to know your people before you can, just blindly, you can't go blindly out there. You have to know what inspires your people or what motivates them. first before you even go into that. But really being able to sustain it is a challenge. And from a program management standpoint, that is your challenge, and you have to continue to reinvent your own self to find new ways to keep them going, keep the team moving.
Oh, definitely. The couple of things you mentioned, very, very, very important. Having fun, of course, we are talking deadlines and mission and all mission impossible, all kind of good things. But at the same time, you have to create an environment with laughter, fun, supporting each other, encouraging each other, all happening together. And the second point, you mentioned that you need to motivate, you need to inspire them. So you need to know what works for each of your team member, each of your project managers, because what motivates me versus what motivates you is going to be different. Our motivation levels are different. Or if somebody who's starting a project management career now versus somebody who's doing the project management for last 30 years, their motivations are different. So as a program manager, you need to understand each of the individuals, their needs, their excitement, and what excites them, what motivates them. And according to that, you need to work with them. And I know it's a big thing we're asking, though, having billions of dollars of work, program managers role, and all kinds of things. But what makes the difference between you and the unsuccessful program is you can inspire team, you can create the environment, you can motivate them, and they are the one doing the job. You're just a leader showing them this is where they're heading to. As you mentioned correctly, that we create some boundaries. Of course, they have to walk in that boundary, but let them walk freely and let them do their ways. Let them have fun as well. Let them feel the sense of excitement or achievements. At the end of the day, they are achieving, you are achieving.
That's right. And like you said, giving them a little bit of leeway, they have to be able to have that leeway to then learn, ultimately to gain that experience to then become a program manager. Because ultimately that's the goal, is quite honestly, one of the probably the most fulfilling things that I've ever been a part of is seeing someone succeed and become a program or project manager as they get promoted. It's one of the most fulfilling things, and to have them come back to you and say, hey, you were in a position like this back in the day. What did you do? Or here's my situation. What do you suggest that I do? That's really that's the ultimate compliment, because it just shows that they believed in you. They still believe in you, and they trust your judgment. And that's the ultimate compliment.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good discussion. Okay, my next question is, how can a program manager leverage the skills and mindset of a change maker to enhance their effectiveness in driving successful change initiatives in a project or a program or organization?
I think we kind of first just started scraping on the topic there, is understanding your team. You have to understand, number one, who they are, what their background is, what their experience level is, what motivates them. And as a program manager, you're going to leverage those skills and figuring out what makes them tick, what makes them go above and beyond, and really, quite frankly, to achieve their potential. I'll never forget one of my coaches back in the day. We were finishing a practice, and he told everyone to raise their hand as high as they could, in the air, and everybody did. And then he said, now reach higher. And every single one of us were able to, at least stretch it out another, inch or two, and those are the little things that that's the difference. That's what makes people get into the next level. And just those little things like that, finding something like that to motivate you, going, all right, well, he told me to reach as high as I possibly could, but then said, okay, now reach higher. And you found a little bit left in you. Those are the little motivating factors that I never forgot that one. And that happened, gosh, probably at least 20 years ago now. And it stuck with me, because I was like, wow, that was very small but powerful. But understanding that the skills and their motivations to be able to really, and we've probably talked about it a little bit in some of the other podcasts, with that transparency. You know, as a program manager, you have that macro view of kind of where the roadmap is going and what we ultimately want to achieve. And sometimes the component level, where it's a project or whatever below it, it doesn't necessarily see the full view. They just see their own piece of that pie. So being able to share the ultimate vision and where we want to be, I think, is very important, and that unlocks the skills and the mindset to go, okay, you know, hey, I've been specializing in this, or, you know, hey, with the end of that roadmap, you know, do you think that it would be beneficial for me to go and get this certification so that we can compete for this in the long run? You know, those are the things that, again, empowering your folks to think about in the long run. Hey, I got to get ready for the next rendition of maybe a new project that's going to require additional skills. And certainly within the times that we're living in with Agile, you're learning something new every day. So I think finding as a program manager, you definitely have to keep them motivated and understanding and being transparent with the end result and the roadmap, I think, is very important, because that will ultimately unlock a whole range of things where, you know, if I'm sharing the ultimate roadmap, you know, hey, we're going to do this in the next year, and that will follow on and get us ready for this opportunity. Well, then all of a sudden, as I'm in my business development role, from a capture standpoint, I'm sitting there going, okay, now I know that we have people on staff that used to work on this particular opportunity that we're going to want to pursue in 2 years. Well, I'm going to immediately start picking their brain on things. Hey, when you were at this particular contract, when you were working on it, what were the issues? What were the strengths? You know, finding out all those things. You know, some of the best information lies within your own team.
Yeah, and that's where you need, as a programmer, you need to know your team strength and weaknesses, and who has, you know, keeping an eye on that. Just not just, you know, I mean, I can keep talking about this as well. You know, knowing the strength and weakness of your team members is very important. So one thing you talked about, you know, and I like that, you know, the way your coach was asking you to go a little bit more than what you already extended. You know, I'm thinking about the Bolt, when, you know, the coach of this fastest man still have a coach. You know, the coach knows where you still can improve a little bit extra.
Yeah,
you know, he's doing the fastest man, and next Olympic he's going to do better than that. How? You know, the person standing outside who's not involved in your running can see, yes, by moving your hand a little bit this side or that side can increase, you know, speed by a few nanoseconds. And that nanosecond is important.
Yeah, Usain Bolt, nobody touched him. Or you look at a guy like Tiger Woods. I mean, he crushed everybody for decades, you know, but he always had a coach, and he was always trying to find a way to get better. I mean, and you're talking about, of course, some of the greatest athletes of all time, but, you know, they had an absolute obsession with getting better.
Yeah. And you look at lots of great movies. We remember the actors and actresses, but behind the scene, the director who makes this whole thing a real thing by little things, you know, who can see the bigger picture and inspiring the team to do a little better. Hey, that shot was great, but we can do a little better. Bring some emotion, bring this, you know, that's the job of a program manager.
That's exactly right.
You know, you are making a best movie in the world, but, you know, small things, small steps. The first step is the one will make the difference.
Couldn't agree more, my friend.
Wow, great discussion. Thank you. All right. My next question is, what strategies can program manager employ to analyze problems and identify root causes when driving organization change?
Well, the immediate ones that jump out to me, of course, from my PgMP and PfMP, yeah, of course, as you say, root cause analysis, or any of the different analysis of change management, things like that. But and of course, the enterprise environmental factors, all those different things. But from a strategy standpoint, you first have to figure out what's the difference. Where are we lacking? Why are we, and once you identify the actual issue, then you can start getting into the root cause analysis of, all right, maybe it's because we're too slow in the procurement side of things. Okay, is there a reason why we're taking so long in that? Is it because is there issues with supply chains? Is that particular part not available, or is it a process thing on our end? And truly understanding the entire picture, as we've just talked about, before you can really analyze any problems or anything else. I think you first have to understand the entirety of the situation. I know a lot of times in my younger days, I would see a problem and immediately want to try and fix it, but without truly understanding how we got to that point. And I know, working with the military, it was always funny when I back in the day when I was there for almost 4 years, and every 6 months you'd have a new rotation of troops coming in. So as we always laughed, it was like the new idea fairy was coming through, as we always called it. But when I first got there, we would take on those particular challenges because, again, we didn't necessarily understand the entirety of the situation. And so by the time I had been there a year and a couple rotations have gone around, everybody would come in with the same new idea, and I felt like I would get to the point where, okay, I agree with you, whatever captain or whoever it was, but I agree with the issue, but here's the reasons as to why this hasn't been solved and can't be solved because of, let's just say, we have supply chain issues or logistical challenges in this country that, and we can't get around this because there's only 2 routes that go into this country. One of those routes is closed during the winter months because of the snow. So we have to go this only route, all these different things that, as someone that's just coming in season issue and wants to jump in and get their hands dirty, you realize that, I wasted a lot of time because I didn't realize the entirety of the situation. And so that actually is what really kind of sprung me along with having a greater understanding of the Middle East region and all the different supply chains. And, and with my mind, as when I start getting into something, I kind of go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, and probably learn a lot more information that is needed. But it's super important to understand the entirety of the situation. And so from a strategy standpoint, certainly there's many different things, but understand, I guess maybe as I've gotten older and the more mature I've gotten, and I guess the more I've done these type of exercises, is really sit back, identify the real issue, and then do an analysis of that issue, brainstorming. Okay, what do you think could be the issues? And then it kind of branches out from that, and do it process-oriented style. I think, it may seem like you're wasting time. It'll seem like that up front, but really, quite frankly, what it'll end up doing is it saves you a lot of chasing the golden goose, so to speak, in all these different areas when, okay, we ultimately you get to the reason that we can't because of this particular regulation, so we can't speed this up, or so then, okay, if that's the particular issue and we can't get around it, well, then we need to build a little bit more slack in our project schedules, different things. You're not going to necessarily be able to solve all issues, but that's kind of some of my experiences with that. Is, of course, I don't like to, again, working with the military, you never want to go to a commander or someone and say, no, we can't do it.
Yeah.
No, that's just not an option, and it goes for the same in the commercial or in the private business. You never want to say no, we can't do it, but you say, sir or ma'am, we can't do it this way. However, here's an alternative. That way, you give them some options. You can't just say no, it can't be done, and because your career won't last long, so to speak. So, those are some of my experiences that. Again, starting with a true understanding of what the issue is and identifying it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Understanding the whole, having a holistic view of the whole thing, and getting to the bottom of the root cause is very, very important for a program manager, project manager. Because at the end of the day, you're making change, and if you do not understand the root cause, why we're doing it, what we're solving, what will make difference, so you need to get into that. And of course, your team members have, they have to take care of a lot of things, but bigger picture, holistic view, and entirety, yes, definitely all of them together. And when we talk about when you're talking to your managers or senior managers or military, whatever, if you go to them with the we can't do it, of course, nobody will like it. The reason you are employed, you're doing the job because they have trust in you. And if you go to them, hey, I don't know how to do it, then you're putting more pressure on them. They will not like it. You go to them, yep, there are a few options. And as per our understanding, analysis, I think option number 1, option number 2 is great. There are implications, pros and cons of each. Yes, there's a recommendation.
Yep, that's the best way to do it.
Exactly.
Explain to them why they can't specifically do what they want. And make sure you have your facts. Don't be guessing. Don't be, well, I think, never use those type of words, because those folks that you're presenting to are trained to feast on those words. When I think or I feel, no, you need to know. Those are some great little tips, because you'll get eaten alive if you bring up those type of words in a presentation.
Yeah, I mean, unconsciously, I'm thinking of my own days when I was working with my manager, and I'm talking facts and figure, but I still use word like I think. Hang on, you cannot use the word. If you're sure, we should be sure. I think. What did I think?
Yeah, you can preface it on, hey, the reason I think this way is because of the facts of this or whatever. But if they ask you a question and you say, well, I think because I think this, they're going to just keep asking you questions. So save yourself up front.
Yeah, if you're sure, be sure. Okay, I think, don't say I think, which I already said. As per my analysis, these are the facts and figures.
That's right.
If you take the route number 1, these are pros and cons. Route number 2, pros and cons, and so on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Okay, moving to the next question. How does the Agile Manifesto, we did talk about Agile for a long time. How does the Agile Manifesto serves as a guiding principle for change makers in their approach to the change management?
Well, really, within Agile, that the manifesto itself is really you're expecting change, embrace it, and really in our world that we're living in now, if you're not embracing it, you're not going to be around probably for very long, and so you really have to and be constantly adjusting to different things and understand what your competition may be doing. So the Agile Manifesto, or whatever we want to call it, it's truly embracing that change, and really making it a culture within your organization to embrace it, empower people. Of course, within Agile, being a servant leadership, these are all great qualities of a mature organization that really is ready for the 21st century challenges. And certainly, but we are not going to abandon everything that we've learned. You still want to keep your change management processes. You might have to adjust them and streamline them, but certainly you want to keep your repositories, things like that, and your lessons learned. these are all great things to make sure, for the next opportunity coming up that, hey, when they're looking at, developing the charter for the next program or whatever, they're going to look at these particular issues of, then that way they can build in those changes that had to be made in the last rendition to where it's already built in and planned for. And so it'll ultimately streamline, the next rendition. So, from an agile standpoint, it truly is the world we live in now. And if you're, as they say, you can only get better or worse. You can't stay the same. So, that's one of the favorite quotes that I've always heard. You can't stay the same. You're either getting better or you're getting worse.
Yeah. So look, Agile Manifesto, I think they're talking 14 different points, and some of them definitely encourage you to bring the change in a more effective way. Don't stay behind the processes and do, hey, this is what the process talks about. No, you have to look beyond the processes. How can you, as a program manager, a project manager, make it possible?
That's right.
Just don't think. I will give you my example of this HP, where HP wanted to build this Asia Pacific level of cloud data center, where the limited time, less than 6 months, 2 data center up and running, fully connected, and absolutely no money allocated at the moment, no resource allocated. I could have said, yeah, no, I have all this, I need all this process, I need people. But when the program finished, successfully completed, 5 days delay, by the way, there was other thing we can talk about. But managers told me, look, Dharam, I've worked with many project managers. They could have sit behind the scope, script statement, risk management, all kind of things, the schedule. All these are important. But you said, Dharam, you said we're going to make it happen, and you made it possible. That's what the quality of agile program manager. Yep, there are some hindrances, some showstoppers. You find ways around and make it possible. Process, we can stick behind. We have to have processes so that we can go in the right direction. But don't stay behind. Just stay behind this process. Just don't follow the process. Find ways to make it possible.
Challenge it, find ways to make it better. I fully agree, because there are times, especially within an organization, you're going to find folks that are not liking change, or they don't feel comfortable with it, or certainly within the legal ways of things, they're going to be the slowest because they're going to analyze everything. But yeah, it's a good thing. My experience when working with the folks on the legal side, or export control, or any of those type of, where certainly it has huge ramifications to a company and the risk and liability, get them involved early. Like, hey, this is something that we're looking at. Is there something that, hey, you would like to see that can help streamline the process that you have to go through? Getting those folks involved early will make life a lot easier for everyone later. I'm fully a proponent of that, because if you're just going to come to them as a last minute, well, of course they're going to hide behind their process, because they're not going to be rushed, especially when they're empowered to protect the company from any type of risk and liability like that. So getting those type of stakeholders involved early will save so much on the back end. And so I think that's a real big important one.
Yeah, and if there's a real issue or real problem, we cannot or we should stop early before we start burning money.
That's right.
And if you've gone far and this about to read somebody, no, we cannot because of this particular government rulings or regulation. Why are we talking now? We should have known about this 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
That's right. Exactly. And being able to shape things, and if it was 6 years ago, like you said, because of some of the great assets that a company may have, they may have been able to influence that even at a legislative level to where that regulation may not have been able to be implemented if we had gotten ahead of it. So, and again, we go back to those change makers, everyone keeping an eye on or keeping an ear to the ground, as we say, and making sure and understanding everything that's happening to make sure that the company is in the best position possible to succeed.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so what techniques do change makers utilize to communicate the benefit and value of the change to stakeholders and create competitive environment?
Well, certainly a technique, especially in a competitive environment, is finding some ways to save costs. That's one of the biggest ones right away. That will grab the attention of anyone and everyone, I would say. Certainly, some of the old traditional Kanban or burn up, burn down charts, but yeah, anytime that you can propose possibly saving money is going to grab the attention of a lot of folks. So finding ways where, from a technique standpoint, some of the things that I am always looking at is personnel utilization. I'm always a big thing, especially here in the Middle East, trying to have assets strategically placed, and even throughout the globe, of when some of the companies that we're with, where they have global reach, having folks in strategic locations that can handle things in a very quick moment's notice, where it's only maybe a 1 or a 2 hour flight versus a 16-hour flight from the U.S. Is very important. It's able to take care of things quickly and serve the customer, and it also alleviates any personnel from getting burned on a 16-hour flight. By the time you arrive, you're dying from jet lag, and you got a 9-hour time change and whatever else. It's very time consuming. It's extremely costly, and it's kind of the old way of doing things in a lot of ways. And so being able to kind of strategically place assets, so to speak, with personnel, I think is a big thing. And not only that, kind of picking a geographical stronghold that you can have a multitude of different, maybe, or a portfolio of components, and finding ways to be efficient and be able to support one another, where, hey, if I've got two contracts, they're not necessarily a program, but I can cross utilize a little bit, where we use the strengths of one to take care of the other, and vice versa. Finding those synergies, as I like to call them, is always helpful. And certainly geographically, with the Middle East being really at the crossroads of Europe and Asia and Africa, you're in a spot where you can easily get to all of them within a 6-hour flight. And so that's just as an example of a strategic technique, I guess, to help save money and deliver value for the customer, and also gives you a competitive edge, where maybe your competitors don't have a strategic area of responsibility, in a different place in the world, where it's going to cost them a lot more to execute on a project when they don't have the other assets in the region. So that then you kind of build your own, as I like to call it, a fortress, so to speak. It becomes very tough to unseat an incumbent when you've built those type of strengths in a particular area.
Yeah, definitely. Look, this as a program manager or change maker, you need to communicate the benefit, value, what really mean to them. Because if you talk about benefit to me by my company, no, it's about the benefit to the sponsor, the client. Show them why the investment in this particular area, or this new initiative, will change the way they are doing. You kind of creating a story and vision for entire change. You're going to show them this is how, this is why, this is show them this customer centric view. That's how it's going to benefit you and your own customers. Show them
That's
that.
right.
Yeah, and of course, why we are better than the competitors, why this will be better, bring them more margins or benefits, value for your organization.
Yep. Bring the business case.
Yeah, look, in this case, justification, why we need this. What is the purpose of having this? Yeah. All right, my last question for you. Why are change makers considered next generation leaders in the VUCA world?
Well, we've certainly kind of touched on it probably throughout today's podcast, but their next generation, simply because we're into a new era of technology where it just everyone is considered a change maker, and they have to be. Otherwise, it's just the companies are just not going to survive. I mean, I was actually just doing a class on entrepreneurship, and we were doing the value proposition canvas, and but one of our assignments was talking about a company, a well-known company that's failed, and has failed to adapt to the changing marketplace. And certainly we always talk about the Blockbuster video. Everybody remembers that. And they had a chance to buy Netflix and turned them down back in the day. I actually brought up the BlackBerry. Everybody remembers the BlackBerry around the world, or the Crackberry, as we would say, and it was something where I ended up doing a lot of reading, and they focused solely on the business user, and really forgot about the fact that, hey, the business user is also a personal user. And so they were so focused on that business use, where, Apple and Android or whoever else, they focused on, hey, this can be a dual use where it's more of business and personal to make everybody's lives more efficient. And so, that was really kind of the death of the BlackBerry. By the time they adjusted and realized they made mistakes, their platform was not able to, it wasn't user friendly for the application developers and all those different things. And by then the ship had sailed, and Android and Apple had really kind of taken over the marketplace. So it was fascinating to kind of read about that and understand, that certainly they didn't have the vision and understanding of the marketplace and where things were going. And so, really kind of sharing those type of experiences and lessons learned of different companies that just failed to understand the market and didn't, they were so focused on one thing that they forgot a whole other sector, and ended up being one of the final nails in the coffin. It's something that every company on the planet needs to be on guard for. Because talk about some amazing companies that I think BlackBerry even had well over 50% of the market share in the world.
Yeah.
And now, they're nothing. And so making sure, again, empowering your folks to understand all that and being the eyes and ears on the ground is extremely important. And again, making sure they're motivated and bringing those new ideas to program managers and senior leadership is really going to be, of utmost importance. So, that's really, folks just sitting in the C-suite and the senior level aren't just the ones that can really look at all the different avenues of change happening in the world we live in today. And so everyone in the company has to be part of that now. It's fascinating.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as you mentioned, everybody in the company has to look out for what they can do the best to make the company viable or more productive, or more new products coming to the market. And their contribution equally, important, just like CEO looks for the future. Sometimes, the C-suites, they're too much busy in their current vision. They forget to see what can we do in future. And you correctly mentioned, the Blackberries and Nokia and Kodak and Blockbuster. Many of these names, well known at the time, nobody talk about them now.
Yep.
Nokia being the best brand at the time, and I do see Nokia's building here in my when I was walking, and I remember that they have 4 offices, big office, but they're not into mobile phone. Their mobile phones are nobody cares at the moment, because they have something happening, but not the mobile. It's because, as you correctly mentioned, they were not going with the flow. They was too, maybe they're too proud of themselves. Hey, we achieved that. We are number one.
Yep.
Who can come closer to us? So you need to keep looking out. Okay, you know what? I am even the fastest runner. Yeah, they have to keep an eye. Okay, maybe somebody is coming, chasing you down. And I've seen one video where this guy already starts celebrating this, and still 10 meters to go, and he thought he was far away from the rest of the competitors, and realized that one Kenyan guy just took over him within times. He said, hang on, I was the winner.
Yeah, I mean, as we all know, it's extremely hard to climb to the top of the mountain and be the leader in a specific market, but it's even harder to stay on top of the mountain.
Stay
And
on the top is even
it's
difficult.
truly impressive, with Apple and all the different devices, and really understanding, Apple's just actually, I saw that they just closed, I think last week, is the first company ever to close over $3 trillion in market value. It's incredible. And so, understanding that and maintaining their, and I think they're even continuing to grow, not as obviously at the same pace as they once did, but to maintain that is truly impressive. But yeah, that's what you have to do to continue to stay on top, or there's always someone going to come around trying to knock you off the mountain, being the king of the mountain.
Exactly. And you said Apple $3 trillion, that has increased my my view now is, okay, to achieve the 3 million, I have 3 trillion we're talking. I have to do like more now.
Yeah. I mean, 3 trillion. Write that down on a piece of paper with
I
that
don't know
many
how many
zeros.
zeros
It's
it
incredible.
has. 9 or 12? Is it 12? Okay. Many.
First off, what a great problem to have.
The counting zeros. Okay, the accountant says we don't have calculator for calculating these numbers.
Yeah, no doubt. Great problems to have, but yeah, $3 trillion of market value. Incredible.
Exactly. Look, great discussion with you, and thank you for your all insightful and thinking, your experience, all great. And hopefully some change leaders are watching us and make a big change to the society and to the entire world. Who knows? We're talking $5 trillion company in few years.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. All right, great stuff. So, Justin, I will see you again in the next podcast.
Yes.
And keep enjoying the life you have, the prestigious life given to you, and do the best you can.